All right, everyone, we are live.
Woohoo!
Everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Thirsty Topics. I'm your guy, Lawrence Elrod.
And I am your girl human, Meryl Climo. I'm saying that in case the aliens are listening.
There you go. Well, we definitely want to make sure we have plenty of people watching. And, wow, we already got one person watching. Cool.
Yay. Hi, one person.
But I do want to say happy Independence Day to everyone. I know we're one day away from the major holiday. So I am actually going to let you start this off.
Oh, thank you. Also, I don't know about you, but I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna not be hurt about the fact that I've got invited to no barbecues or picnics for July 4th. I always not that I want to, it's the kind of thing where you're like, it would be at least nice to be invited. But like
I hear you.
my social calendar is wide open. I've turned down no pool parties, no anything this season.
Don't feel bad. I wasn't invited anywhere either, but that's okay.
Right? Okay, like where are all the parties? I don't get it. So, okay, well, I thought this one was good for us because obviously we are content creators. But I don't know about you. I got into it like in my late 20s, so I really wasn't, super young compared to now. Um, and this is relevant because a study just came out and they said uh so YouTube says that Gen Z actually loves fan made content more than original content. So I thought that was like a few different really interesting things in this article. The first thing is that on platforms now, even more than original content, creators are making like recaps, parodies, reactions, and commentary, and that's becoming more popular than like the actual source content itself.
Mm-hmm.
So they said like fan culture is now one of the central drivers of emerging popular culture, which, like I feel like growing up, we obviously had like magazine reviews and newspaper reviews, but we didn't have so much of just like reactions to every album, or it wasn't as like digestible. And then another stat from this article said the YouTube study found that 65% of 350 Gen Z, United States Gen Z people, respondents describe themselves as video content creators. So 65% of kids in the study called themselves video content creators, which is a lot. Normally it would be like the weird 3 or 4 kids that were in radio. Now it's 65%. So I thought that was super cool. Gen Z Americans say they often spend more time watching content that discusses or unpacks something than they do watching the thing itself. I think that's like super interesting. They said online fandom is a powerful tool for virtual connection, with 47% of the Gen Z respondents reporting that they belong to a fandom that no one they know personally is a part of. Of all the respondents aged 14 to 44, 80% said that they consume content about the thing that they're a fan of at least weekly on YouTube. Maybe that's us. Maybe like people are here as our fandom. We're gonna make a spin-off show about this show. But
There
I
you
thought
go.
that's super interesting. And so like, like fandom is not anything new, obviously, but the
Yeah.
fact that it's like getting up there and almost beating out original content and people are spending more time on it, I think that's like so interesting.
The interesting thing to me about it, and you're right, to me, um, original content is kind of not as popular as it used to be. And you actually see that in all different facets, even movies, and that's an excellent example. Like for example, the new Bad Boys movie came out, maybe about a month or two ago.
Yep.
And I love the movie. Don't get me wrong, but what was this, number 4 or 5, I think it was. Um,
Yeah.
and you're starting to see that trend in the movies now where you're seeing a lot of remakes of older movies and stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And not to say anything's wrong with that, but I kind of do miss a lot of new, unique, creative because it's very creative. It captures your imagination and stuff. And also I think it opens up the door for a lot of other creators too when you start looking at original content.
Yeah, I feel like that's what like the was it A24? Is that like that's the horror movie
Oh
production
yeah.
company? Yeah, I feel like that's what they're like seeking out to do is basically create like really good, high
Mm-hmm.
quality independent stuff that that normally wouldn't have a budget. Um But I was going to ask, okay, so like on a weekly basis, what what type of like fan or reaction pages do you look at? Like, is it sports, or like are you looking at a lot of the original content, but then like what fan made content do you watch or consume?
I kind of like a little bit of both. I'm a little bit nostalgic where, I'll watch old episodes, Good Times, Family Matters, stuff like that. I'm a big Trekkie, so I love
Yeah.
Star Trek. Though I'm not sure why they don't show a lot of it anymore, but that's a different subject. And I do like a lot of new creative stuff because besides the entertainment, I learn from it and I get ideas from it as well. So I think you need a healthy balance of both.
Yeah, but then do you also watch other Star Trek fans content? Like, do you consume what other Star Trek fans have to say?
You know what? Actually, I don't. Um, I mean, I love watching Star Trek all the time, but I really don't follow other people that watch it. I know on UFO stuff, that's probably a different story. But
Yeah.
I do look at other people's postings and stuff for UFOs. So I guess it depends on what it is, and I think everyone, to some degree, does that for something that they really care passionately about.
Yeah, see, I'm deep in. I need to really get a life because I'm deep in like there's these things on Reddit called like snark pages, which is so not healthy and not good. You know, like snark, like where they'll have LA influencer snark where they'll talk bad about like LA influencers. And I'm like, it's not only bad that I'm watching the influencers, it's like a total waste of my time that I'm reading like other people like snark them because that's not nice at all. But then I feel like I'm definitely part of this article because I spend so much time like listening to the podcasts of people on reality shows. You know, I think Bravo, like the
Hmm.
channel Bravo, definitely breeds a lot of this. Where like not only do we watch the Bravo shows, but there's so much in terms of like watch parties and fan podcasts, and it's just like I feel like if you're in the Bravo world, it's like a full time job catching up with all the other related things. So I feel like I would have to wonder. I'm almost probably definitely matched, if not listening to more like fan related content and creating my own.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think all of us do in one way or the other, and I think there's nothing wrong with it. But I think it's depends on what your flavor is. It's probably one of the reasons why AI is so popular right now.
Yeah, yeah, because they know, and soon I'm just going to be listening to robots talk about like Vanderpump Rules. They'll be implanting a chip in my head. But yeah, I thought that was like so interesting because I never used to be that concerned with like if I liked an album, I wasn't really pouring into like what other people said about the album. You know, like
Hmm.
it was just more my own thoughts. But there's something about reality TV that I just also want to know what like everyone else is saying, and you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll go through and I'll see stuff on social media, and just for kicks and grins, I'll go into the comment section just to see what people are saying.
Yes, it's so yeah, and it's like I don't want it to be bad, and for a while, if I'm like living in the negativity, I'm like, oh, I need to cleanse myself.
Actually, sometimes the comments are actually more interesting than the actual, ad or story that you
Yeah,
look on yourself. So, yeah, like I said, I think it's healthy. People
it
like to
is
have
healthy.
fun. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll pick some like podcasts that are annoying me, and I'll read their Apple reviews, and then I'll like I never post myself because I don't want to make anyone feel bad, but I'll like a comment if someone says something mean that I agree with. So really not a wonderful use of time, but whatever.
Actually, speaking of time, my first topic is something that everyone's talking about. Everyone's talking about the debate between Biden and Trump.
Oh yeah.
And the crazy thing about it is everyone is focusing on, I guess, the way Biden handled himself. Nothing about the actual debate itself or any of the policies, but
Right, right.
about him. And it begs the question. I like to find out from you, Merle. Do you think that there is such a thing as being too old to run for public office?
1,000,000%, a million percent.
Hmm.
And like I think it's I don't know. I'm not quite sure yet if I believe in like a definite number. If it's like 85 and you're done, because then of course there's going to be the 85-year-old that like defies all odds and is
Mhm.
really sharp and really makes good points and he can live to 102, whatever. But I definitely think like as you're starting to near the like early to mid 80s, like just the way our life is, like to me, you should be starting
Mhm.
to like take some rest and spend time with your loved ones and just, like kind of wind down a little bit. And like that doesn't mean not work or retire it by any means if you still have it, but like to be the leader of our country, I think
Mhm.
there should be some, just on the same way that there's a age minimum too, so it's like it's not discrimination, it's more just like I don't know, like what is fit for like our overall nation.
Mhm. I don't know. I guess I have a different spin on it. Um, I guess the question for me is, can he do the job? Okay.
Mhm.
Now, an 80-year-old is going to be obviously much different than a 40-year-old. Okay. No one's going to argue that. You know what I
Right.
mean? But the thing is, he does bring a lot of experience and stuff like that. And I guess the way I look at it is when you vote for someone for office, regardless whether they're older or younger, you have to know that if they become president for their first term, unless there's something catastrophic, they are going to run for reelection.
Right. Yes, yes, yes. Yep.
So, this person that, you may not want again is the same person you voted for the first time out.
I know, which we have
And
to consider. Yeah.
now, don't get me wrong. Now, here's the thing. If it's a point where the person cannot function doing their job, whole different conversation. Whole
Yes.
different conversation. But I think the thing that we're all forgetting is there are levers in place to protect the country. In other words, God forbid if something happened to the president,
Yes.
the vice president steps in. God forbid if something happened to the vice president, then there's another person that steps in. It's already set in stone. Even like when you have, I think, presidential nationwide address, there's always one or two people that purposely is left out of there in case there's something catastrophic.
Yes, yes. And as much as like the president definitely has such an important like he has to give the speeches and be there, but I feel like so many people are working behind the scenes to like kind of make the big decisions. Like we have to remember that's not all like Biden or Trump like signing off on our whole lives. There's a whole bunch of other people and systems, how you said, where it's like they're kind of like it's an important figurehead, but at the end of the day, it's like the CEO of the company where like things are still gonna run. But I do think like overall this this whole debate is just like embarrassing on many different levels, and it like it makes kind of like to me personally it makes our country look a little like silly and goofy, and so that's just how I feel. That is just how I feel. Like I feel like we have two whatever candidates that don't seem like the most like inspiring conversationally and like motivation wise, and I wish it was a little things were a little bit different, so that's how
Yeah.
I feel for both. I respect people could like feel differently and feel like one or the other is like the best thing they've ever heard and they could feel so inspired. Just for me, when I watch it, I'm like, oh my God, in 2024, like these are these are the best things that we have right now. Like on both ends, literally. Like it's just weird to me, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's kind of crazy that, Biden is getting so much flack when Trump is only 3 years younger than him.
Yeah, yeah, and both have had like we could make a montage of both like rambling on. My
Mhm.
boyfriend just played me a video of Trump like rambling about sharks and boats and so like everything that we could say about one, we could I think both have like corrupt moments, both have like to me it's like it's kind of like two heads of the same monster as they say, and so it's like I don't think one is as I don't know, like it's just kind of I don't, but I know people feel a certain way about this. They feel very strongly, but it's just like if one is mumbling and old, like honestly, the other one is mumbling and old too. So, like
Yeah. I think it's interesting just to even have this conversation, and I think it's going to be even more interesting once we get to November because something tells me that there's going to be more crazy stuff that we're
I
going to go through.
know, I know, and like yeah, I don't know if there should be a cutoff. I mean, honestly, it's a little silly if like someone that's 94 years old is like running for president. That may be something, but I mean, if it's a 94-year-old that's like in the best shape of their life. I really don't know. I just know that this is like a little disheartening. But as I was watching the debate, the one thing I would watch a reality show with the both of them because like I think together I feel like they're both missing their calling. They need to ride off into the sunset and like I would be the number one fan of like both of them having a cute show together, and I think that would like sweep the nation do so well because like some of their back and forth was actually like so cute and funny, and so I'm like I would watch this. I like both you guys.
You know the crazy thing about what you said? That may just happen.
That would be amazing. Like I feel like that would be very healing for our planet because like the way that they were kind of making fun of each other, I was like, I was like, this is what we want. Like funny, smart men. Like I think they're both very intelligent. They both have their ups and downs, but it's like to me that would be like the next Paris Hilton reality show. Like I would totally watch it. They might have a viewership of just me and maybe you, but like I would be the number one fan.
I think if that became reality, there'd be a lot of people watching that show.
Yeah, they really would. It'd probably get more views than votes, but yeah. So
Very true.
yeah.
Very true.
That was a good one. That was yours, right?
Yes.
That was a good one. And I appreciate too. I feel like you're like me where like I feel like people can have definite opinions. I honestly in this like I am someone that like honestly people can vote either way and like I will always even if we disagree, we could like agree that we're coming, I respect people's viewpoints and whatever. So that's
Yeah,
that.
I agree with you. I mean, you know the crazy thing about it, Merle, the way you and I talk and the way we talk about this subject, the sad thing is you cannot talk politics with just anyone. Some
I
people
know.
are ready to fight you and go ballistic, and it's like, oh, calm down, relax.
Yeah, that's very weird to me. Like extremism when it comes to politics and a bunch of stuff is like it just kind of shows me that I don't know. It's just not. I'm open to different mentalities. Let's just say,
Mhm.
Okay, well, this is a good one because we talked about both candidates getting older, and this one is about ghosting. So this I have strong. Actually, I just talked about people being extreme. I didn't like it. This is actually an area where I'm very extreme because I hate ghosters, people that just stop texting and stop writing
Mhm.
all of a sudden. But new psychology research reveals a surprising fact about ghosting, and so basically they did a whole bunch uh, of studies in the Journal of Experimental Psychology revealing that ghosting is not necessarily devoid of care. The researchers found that ghosters often have motives and that understanding these motives can mitigate the negative effects of ghosting. So, like, basically, very long story short, is we tend to take getting ghosted very personally, obviously, because it's like happening to us and someone is ghosting us and that's extremely hurtful. But more and more, researchers found that people ghost in the first place because they never were taught like proper means of communication. Like maybe they were abused growing up and they weren't able to bring up anything without getting abused further, or like just they never really were taught healthy communication. Or they're ghosting because they also have such low self-esteem that sometimes they think that like why would the other person care if I wrote to them or not, like I'm not worth anything, so like why would someone get upset about me not writing back because I'm worth nothing, which is very sad. But uh just all of I don't know, to me though I read this and I'm like, yeah, but who cares, you could still write back. I had like a twinge of empathy and then all of a sudden I'm like, get over it and answer someone.
I mean, I can understand that. I beg to differ a little bit than what that research says because there's
Yeah.
certain situations where here's a great one. You apply for a job, okay? And you go through the first telephone interview. You get a face-to-face interview. And then you get a second face-to-face interview. And then all of a sudden you hear nothing. Not even, hey, you don't have the job or anything. I think that's
Right.
incredibly rude.
100%. I agree with you. And in that case, like when it comes to it's not a personal dynamic, it's a professional ghosting, then there's
Mm-hmm.
all those excuses are out the window. Because I'm like, I don't care how your mom treated you. I don't care if you have like low self-worth, like you're at your job, answer people back, like
Mm-hmm. I mean, and even in dating, granted, it's been, well over 30 years since I've dated, because I'm married. But the thing is, I hear single people complain all the time about going on one or two dates, and next thing you know, they don't hear from the person.
right.
And I think that's kind of rude because if you just don't see a relationship or see anywhere going, be man or woman enough to say it. Don't just ghost them. you know?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I've had a few friendships lately where I don't even think they mean to ghost. They're just so bad at text, but like the amount of imbalance that it makes me feel, I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm like, these friendships may not be like completely worth it. So yeah, it's definitely
Oh
a
yeah.
thing. I would
I
never
think it,
ghost, especially if someone like writes back again and says like, hello, just checking in, and then you ghost again. Like, forget it.
oh yeah. I think it if it's a friend or something like that is one thing, but I think it hurts it cuts a little bit deeper when it's a family member you're just checking on and they don't respond back to you. You
Yeah.
know, to me, no one's that busy, you
Not
know.
at all. No, I hate them. One of my best friends, who I love so much, is single, and she's single and on the market. And it's just like so crazy to learn what she's going through right now and see. And she had a guy on, I think Bumble, and his opening line to her was, "Let's skip the small talk and just get married." and like,
Hey,
and then he said something about like want to go out for tacos, and then she replied to something really witty like, "Yes, I take my guacamole with a side of diamonds." And then I thought that was super funny. And then he didn't write back and he ghosted her.
oh, I
And
guess he
she
didn't
made
like
like,
that, huh?
right? Exactly. And she made a whole video out of it and like showed his message in the green screen. And people were like, oh, that's just, he was probably messaging a bunch of girls that opening line. But still, like, that hurts someone's feelings when you message, even if it's like the 68th girl that day, like messaging someone like, let's skip the small talk and go to marriage, and then not answering back at all. Like, you're just,
Mhm.
that's like a whack way to communicate, like get
Oh,
control of yourself.
absolutely. I mean, you send out a crazy text, and then when she sends you a funny text, you don't want to talk to her anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like don't start it up if you can't handle it. You know what I mean? Like that's
Exactly.
yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy why people do that. I totally agree with you 1,000% on that.
Have you ever ghosted? Like not dating, of course, but other situations?
Um, you know what? Actually, I don't think I have. Just because now one thing I do have to admit, I'm really bad on phone calls, like to loved ones and stuff, just to see how they're doing.
Yes, yes.
So I do end up calling them, maybe not as fast as I should. Um, and I probably should get better with that because you never know what's going on in people's lives. So I definitely have to work on, just reaching out to family members. Just, a simple, hey, how you doing? Are you okay? I definitely gotta get better
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll forget to like I think I'll check on my inner circle a lot, but then they're like B plus and C less people. Like sometimes people will text me, and I'm like, oh my god, you're a person that I love. I like forgot. Like I don't know if it's ADD or something, but sometimes I will forget that people like exist unless I see them, and then once I do, I'm like, oh my god, I love this person. Of course, I want to go to brunch with them, but I could see sometimes maybe how they would feel like it's frustrating that the only time we communicate is when they like reach out or same thing.
Hmm.
But that's
No,
different than ghosting. That's just almost being like a busy adult in today's day and
that's
age,
true. That's true. That's true. But yeah, we don't ghost here. We always
No,
reach
we
back.
always are people. No one in the chats is mad about our debate conversation, are they?
Nope, nobody's mad.
Okay, good. There, no one's crying.
Actually, I have a great one here. Um, there was a woman who I forgot where she was at, but there was a bear that walked up to her and she was holding her daughter, and they were still. And the bear literally got up, was sniffing the mom, even put his paws on her, uh,
Whoa!
touched the 4-year old's foot, and she yanked it back. But everybody still just stayed frozen. And then there was some people sitting around; they was frozen as well too. Um, and literally, I thought that bear was going to attack her. I mean, luckily,
Whoa!
got down and walked away. But I guess wildlife officials were saying that they had a similar situation where a bear got too close to people, and they said they were going to look for the bear and unfortunately euthanize it. But
Oh, really?
because the problem is that bear is way too comfortable around people. You know,
Oh, that's so sad. Was this at like a campsite or were they just hiking in the middle of the woods, or was it at like a campsite?
I want to say it looked like it was maybe in the woods and near like a picnic area or something like that. But it was way too close for comfort. And I tipped my hat off. I mean, she
Yeah.
stayed frozen, didn't move an inch.
Oh
So
my gosh, I would be like making pee pee in my pants. I would at least live stream it for us. I'd be like, let's get some views here, no matter what's happening.
like I said, and it's kind of crazy, Merle, but has this been a lot of video about bears getting way too comfortable around people,
Oh
you know,
yeah, yeah,
because it used to be bears, unless they're provoked or you're near them, they don't want to be anywhere near people, but now
right,
it's starting to be the opposite, which is kind of scary.
yeah. I've seen so many videos of bears in people's backyard, like on a
Yes.
trampoline or like swinging from the swings. It seems like they're like,
Hmm.
and then I know out here we tend to have brown bears, and those are like obviously they're not friendly, but those are supposed to be like you want to run in more if you're going to run into a bear. I think the brown bears are more likely to be at least like somewhat forgiving. Obviously, like the grizzlies are and polar bears are who you don't want to mess with, but um there's all these the different for the brown ones you're supposed to like make yourself big and scary, but
Hmm.
yeah, that's so interesting. But I've had some friends out here that live by like the mountains, the kind of mountain foothills, and they'll see bears just walking around like, but they're so almost like domesticated to the point where they don't freak out if they see someone, but they do steal people's dogs and like unfortunately kill their dogs. Same with coyotes too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, me personally, mm, even though city may not be perfect for everyone, but I don't have to worry about
You'll
seeing a
see
bear in my
there.
backyard. So,
I know. Yeah, it's out here too, like kind of by like where the Hollywood sign is. One of my friends, there was this like famous mountain lion that was had a tracking on it called P22. And earlier this year, like it had a tracking device, and we were able to know so much about it. Unfortunately, earlier this year, it got struck when it was crossing the highway, and it got killed. But my friend would just see it on her like cam. It would cross her house, and she would see like P22 just walking across the her house, which is crazy.
yeah, I think I'd move at that point.
Right? I know. But the bear, it's crazy. I mean, that's good for that mom for really like having her and not fighting the bear, losing her mind. That's really cool.
Yeah, actually, I tip my hat off to her because most people couldn't have stayed that still.
Oh my gosh, no, my mom would somehow annoy the bear and like make the bear feel bad and like throw up all its fish or something. Like the bear would be apologizing somehow, and my mom would like make it feel guilty. um okay. Ooh, okay. I wanted to get your thoughts on this one. Okay, so Patagonia, like the company, the outdoor wear
Mhm.
and outdoor stuff, Patagonia has given some staff 3 days to decide whether they'll relocate to the office or quit. So as many as 90 Patagonia staff members could be let go from the company for living too far from its offices after the Sustainable Outdoors brand ordered remote customer service staffers to relocate closer to the company's 7 centers or quit. So they were given an ultimatum on a Tuesday with just a 3-day deadline to decide whether they would be willing to move across the country to keep their jobs. They must now live within 60 miles in one of the 7 hubs, like Atlanta, Dallas, Reno, Chicago, Pittsburgh. So, they do have some choices in like where in the United States, but they have to be at least 60 miles from that hub. They were informed at a town hall meeting. This was a Tuesday, and then they had a lack of response within the 72-hour time frame would be essentially translated into giving their notice.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy? So, let's see. Those who do choose to relocate must do so by September 30th, and they've been offered $4,000 and extra PTO to help with the move. So, I mean, I've never heard of like a relocation ultimatum. I'm sure it happens. I guess my thought is like, why can't they stay remote, or maybe that wasn't working out too well. But I thought that's like, if you have a family, who on earth could like, and they don't have to move within 3 days; they just have to give the answer within 3 days. But still, that's like such a big decision. If you have kids, who knows if that job is going to last like a long, forever, the security in that job. So, what do you think about that?
Personally, I would just go ahead and find a new job because to me,
Yeah,
that is so rude and disrespectful. And here's the reality, what they don't realize. And again, it depends on the situation. But let me paint this picture. You have a person who works for this company, and they have a teenager in high school. I'm willing to tell you, unless they're getting one hell of a bonus, they are not moving. It's
Yeah,
not. It's
yeah,
not going to happen.
right. For like a
And like,
customer service job, it's not like this marketing CEO where you're probably making a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like it's a yeah.
and the thing is, $4,000 in PTO doesn't sounds like a lot, but it's PTO, which means it's time off. But it's not going to compensate you in case you have to sell your home, buy another home. You know,
Right.
if you're in a lease, most leases, in order for you to break that lease, they're going to want you to pay months of rent to break that lease.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So it's not as simple as just picking up and leaving. And I know they're thinking, well, we're giving you till September. Okay. Well, if you sign that lease in January, February, you're going to break that lease. And it's going to
Right.
cost you more
That's
money
true. That's
that
a
you're
good
not.
point.
So it's not as simple as, hey, I'm going to give you the time off to move, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really, really good point. Yeah, the
And
CEO is basically like, oh my gosh, they literally, one of the workers said, if you don't live in these 7 metro areas, you either need to move there or give us your stuff and hit the brick.
but here's what's so crazy, Merle. You wonder what the real reason is because if if I have to move within one of those locations, you're basically telling me my location doesn't matter.
You're right. You're totally right. Like, yeah. Because why would it be like I could? Okay, I'll live in Dallas or Reno or like, yeah.
Exactly.
That's so random. That's so random.
So I wonder if there's another motive behind it, but I think that that may backfire on them.
Like, what would you think? What would another motive be?
I don't know. I mean, I've heard of managers, as crazy as this sounds, where, once we did the pandemic, most companies found out that you don't need your employees on site in order for them to do their job.
Right.
And there's some managers, as crazy as this sounds, that want people to be in the office, not because they're more productive or they're goofing off or nothing like that, because they want to see their face. I remember
Yeah.
years ago, I had someone tell me that. They want to, I want you to come in the office because I want to see your face every morning. It was kind of like it had nothing to do with productivity.
Right. And that's fine if from the beginning you say that, but it's like to have a remote role and then change it on people.
Exactly. And some people may have taken that position because it's a remote role.
Exactly. Yep. A lot of people. And then just in case, because I know if it was me, I'd want to know. The 7 hubs are Atlanta, Salt Lake City, Reno, Dallas, Austin, Chicago, or Pittsburgh. So, some are good cities. Like, I mean, that's like these are cool places to live in if you want to live in like Austin or Chicago. Like if you're a young single person and you love
Mhm.
working for Patagonia, or that you're looking for an excuse to live in Austin anyway, like that's a cool thing. But it's definitely like that's not going to be everyone.
Oh, exactly, exactly. And like I said, you may have some people that take them up on their offer and relocate, and you may have some people be like, you know what, screw this, I'll go someplace else. Because again,
Yeah.
we're not talking like this big high executive role either. You know,
Exactly, exactly. And it's weird if you don't have to move until September 30th, like why the 72-hour thing is like just a made up number.
exactly.
Yeah. What about the people that are on vacation? Could you imagine? Imagine coming
Ooh,
back and be like, we're moving to Reno now. Yeah.
actually, that would I just thought about that. You're right. Because if you're on vacation, most people don't check emails or anything like that. So,
Right.
wow, that's a great point.
Yeah. And I think that's almost like one of those like a car sales, like I need an answer right now, almost to like because I feel like if they gave people a month, they'd probably get a lot of flip-flopping and asking questions. And this is almost one of those like leadership, like, we're getting an answer, yes or no, which I have to like, I understand that to a point, but that's just, I don't know who on earth could like think about their whole life changing in 3 days and like whether or not they're going to move. And it's just a lot.
Exactly, exactly. It'd be kind of fun to see how it turns out, though.
Yeah, yep, for sure. And if anyone's looking to move to Reno or Pittsburgh, Patagonia, I'm sure we'll hire you.
That was a good one. Alrighty. Let's see. let me ask you a question. In your opinion, do you think that dating has gotten very superficial? And the
Yes.
reason why I say that is I saw something. This guy, his name is Caliber, and I follow him. And he had on there is this guy. I don't know what it was, but it was like five women, young women, stand up, and they had a balloon. So basically, this guy was coming up, and the person that was there, the host or whatever, she had a microphone, and she was like, "Okay, if you don't want to date this guy, bust your balloon."
Oh, I saw this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And he had
And
like the best response back to her, right? Like,
oh my, he
yeah,
was
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a little bit on the cocky side.
Oh, see, I like it. I was like, you gotta humble her because
I mean,
yes, that's right.
and the crazy thing, some of the reasons, okay, some of them were okay. I get it. They thought, maybe he was a little bit cocky, full of himself, but some of the reasons were kind of like crazy. But then his response is like one woman, she's like, okay, up here, look here, look at my face.
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, I wasn't looking at your face. I was looking at the hair on your arms. I was like,
I
dude.
I think that's I mean to me it's kind of like an eye for an eye. Like if you're gonna try to humiliate and like even as a woman, like I love it. I don't think men should be humiliated like that if you're not about to like get ready to get it back, because I think one of the ones that I saw that one, and then I saw one where like they were asking him, I think he had a briefcase, and the woman was like, I know there's no money in that briefcase, and then he like went off on her and really like so eloquently was like, you don't understand where I came from, and he really like smacked her down to reality. um I mean, to me, that's like a subset of what of some people. Like, I don't know if dating as a whole has gotten more superficial. I feel like for all of those people, there's other ones that are like still meeting now, and they like each other's minds, and so like I feel like those are like we would be at the club anyway. Like no matter what, I feel like that would be like happening day in and day out, where people just like look at each other for the looks. But um yeah, I don't know actually. Maybe my answer is I don't know. I think it's almost the same as it ever was. It's just now we have like access to so many other people. So it's easier for the very superficial people to be like extra superficial.
True. And the one positive thing about people being so superficial is you find out very fast what kind of person you're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I thought it was kind of gross when the woman was like made fun of the guy saying like I don't think you have any money in that briefcase because he came back and he was like, I'm so proud, like I made myself who I am, and I actually do have so much money, and like just because I'm not wearing a Rolex, like I probably have more money than you in your bank account. Like he really like he wasn't superficial at all. He just basically laid it on the line and kind of said like, "How dare you?" And I thought that was really cool. But
Oh
the
yeah.
the arm hair one, I was like, "Oh god."
And what's crazy is I saw another one. And basically, I mean, granted, I know it was a skit, but it is true to a point for some people where this woman sees this guy, and this guy comes up and tries to introduce himself to her. He likes her, and she makes a comment, "You're broke," and it's like, "Well, why do you say I'm broke?" "Well, you live here, don't you?" I say, "Yeah, I do." "Don't you live here?" "Yeah, I do. I live with my mother." And he was like, "So let me get this straight. You're making fun of me because I live here in my own apartment. Um, and I see you riding the bus. I have a car, but you call me broke." And she goes,
Yeah.
"Well, I have high standards and stuff like that. I need to be wine and dine." And he goes, "But you live here with your mom." And it was a skit. It was funny. But the crazy thing about it, there's a lot of women that are like this. You
Oh my
know,
gosh,
they want,
definitely.
they feel like they're the queen. You should be doing this. You should have this, this, and that. And you go, okay, do you have any of those things you require?
Right, right. Like we talked about last week with that study that was like women want men to have a Wikipedia page, a private plane. And we're like, okay, do you have a Wikipedia page? And, I would have to remind myself 10 million times that that was just a skit that you were telling me. I'm like, it's just a skit. It's just a skit. But like, to me, that calling someone out, especially calling them broke, is not a very like wealthy thing to do. And I think like they're, like the very wealthy people are like not often making fun of those that aren't like that don't have it. So I feel like people like that, like you don't get anything by putting other people down, basically, you know. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, I
That,
don't know.
that's an excellent point because the funny thing is, you're right. People that really do have money don't make fun of people who don't.
Right? It's not at
That's
all.
that's the crazy thing about it. You're 100% right on that.
Thank you. Yes, yes. I think sometimes people like I feel like there's a difference of just like snooty rich and like wealthy mindset is like such a usually a typically like nice, like open-minded, you know, like more of like a growth mindset type of person. So a really, really wealthy person would see that guy living there and think like, oh, how awesome. Like what are you like aspiring to do? Or, you know, what are you
Mhm.
working on while you're living there? And it's like someone just kind of flattening someone else down is like a very like poor, poor way to think.
Oh yeah, and there's always exceptions to every rule, but most wealthy people do not want you to know they're wealthy, and they don't
Right,
even dress.
exactly.
They don't
Yeah, they're
even dress well.
understated. Yes, the last thing on earth they would wanna do is, like, flash their keys, yeah, because 'cause they're not trying to prove it to anyone. If anything, they wanna keep it under wraps because they don't want, like, everyone and their mother, like, knowing about it, you know?
You know what? I want to share this true story that happened years
Yeah.
ago. I was at the bank, and I was waiting in line to do my business, and there was this gentleman in front of me. Older gentleman. In fact, do you remember those member only jackets?
Yeah, those are cool, I like those jackets.
So yeah, a members only jacket. He had jeans on, and they were nice jeans, but they were off brand, whatever. And I kid you not, the guy was like, I'm trying to think, what was the amount? He's like, oh yeah, I need to um, I need to go ahead and pull out $1 million to complete my home. Everybody online just shut up. We just all like,
Oh my
oh.
gosh.
And the thing is, and the reason why I'm telling this story, he's the type of person that will walk right past you and you wouldn't even give him a second thought.
Right, right, and he could have
What I
been
mean,
taking
and
out,
what
like,
I mean by
$40.
exactly, and what I mean by that is before some people are like, well, what do you mean not a second thought? In other words, he just looks like a normal person.
Right, right, he's not dressed in, like, dripping in Gucci and basically with, like
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, if he needs $1 million to finish his home, what kind of fucking home does he have?
Oh my gosh. And also the trust and also hopefully he got it in like a cashier's hopefully not everyone heard him just like walking away with $1 million in cash. I feel like that's like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, they were talking to him and they eventually walked him around to an office. But to me, the moment he said that, you should immediately take him to an office because he shouldn't have been in that line.
Right. I know. Just like walking with his like money falling out of the members only jackets. I feel like, but yeah, I think it's like definitely a toxic thing that younger people tend to do with each other. I mean, we all do it, but like especially in dating, people saying like right off the bat, writing people off and saying, "Oh, you're not going to provide me with what I need," or and so I don't like that. But uh, I still have faith that like most people that are on dating apps are still looking for like normal,
Mhm.
like a normal partner, not something that they like can not a bank account basically.
That's true. That's true. Like I said, it was very interesting to see that because I was like, wow.
Oh, the hair on her arms too. Yeah, I just can't.
I mean, the guy. I mean, and I get it. He was protecting himself, but man, he didn't have to go that hard though. Ooh, boy, he
I
was going.
know, I know. And like I am a woman that loves other women. I'm like very, very pro girl. I love girls. Like I'm like I love it so much. But I definitely think it's kind of like equality that if you're making fun of the way someone looks and like dragging on them for their looks, then like when they come back to you, you can't shrivel like a little bitch, So like
That's true. In other
and so
words,
you
don't
could you
don't.
could like exactly the thing is like just don't bring it up, don't be mean in the first place, and like you'll get a lot less mean comments back to you.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's as simple as before you say what you're going to say. If the person responds the same way back to you, if you don't feel good about that, don't say it.
Right, right. And the devil's advocate for sure though is that like even like women we have to deal for a lot of times with a lot of unwanted comments, good or bad, from like random men about our body. So I understand and like how women do feel sometimes where it's just like for every one comment we may make, like unknowingly, there's like 15 things when we're just trying to walk down the street. So like I get it. There's like I wish that could be equal as well. It's like everyone just treat each other nicely.
That's true. That is so true.
Okay. Well, this is the perfect one after the superficialness. Because this is like perfect because my favorite, who I think is the cutest, is Wild Thing, who is now the winner of the World's Ugliest Dog Contest. So to show you that looks don't matter still when you're in the dog world, uh, he's going to be the face of Mug Root Beer, which I think is so funny. Mug Root Beer shows support to rescue animals by featuring Wild Thing on limited edition cans. Wild Thing won the world's first place, or sorry, won first place at the World's Ugliest Dog Competition. Uh, and let's see, he's an 8-year-old Pekingese who secured the title on June 21st after 4 previous attempts. Like, I think that's like so funny that all he wanted to be was the ugliest dog. The thought of like someone losing at being an ugly dog is like, it's too emotional for me. Now he's on over 1,000 limited edition cans of Mug Root Beer, Mugly. And Wild Thing did triumph over the second place and People's Choice winner Rome, a 14-year-old one-eyed pug. So our thoughts and prayers are with Rome, who got second place, but something tells me maybe if he starts like an Instagram, he'll be fine.
Oh yes, definitely. And I think it's cool that they celebrate these dogs because you know what? All dogs have beautiful hearts. They really do.
Yes, yes, and I really like the ugly ones too. Yeah, so like, good for Mug Root Beer for like doing this because it raises a lot of ultimately it raises attention for rescues, and a
Mhm.
lot of the portions raised are for other rescues. So like this is all done in good fun. Obviously, it's not like super serious or anything, but it's
Yeah,
just to commemorate some ugly fugly dogs, which I am totally okay with.
I am totally okay with it as well. And I actually saw that, and that's a cute dog.
I know he's actually not like he's not very very ugly. I've seen
Mhm.
definitely uglier ones. I secretly think like a lot of Chihuahuas could like I feel like I could be walking down the street and I'm like I've seen ones uglier than Wild Thing, but
You know, the other thing when I look at him, I don't look. To me, he doesn't look ugly. He just looks like he just need a grooming.
yeah. He's kind of growing a little bit of a mop top, and yeah, he definitely looks like he needs a bath and maybe like some like when you like a wipe, like a fresh wipe, like someone needs to wipe off his eyes and nose, but he's
Yeah, I
good.
mean, if I didn't groom my dog for a little bit, he'd look like a just big giant hairball just running through the house. So
Oh, so sweet. But I love that after 4 tries, he finally won Ugliest Dog.
there you go. Hey, you know what? He's doing very well. His mommy and daddy are going to be making a little bit of money for a minute off
I
of him. So
know. And to have your dog on like 1,000 cans of Mug Root Beer, I would buy all 1,000 and like give them out to friends and family. And like, yeah, I would like hoard every single can.
yeah, I think if my dog were to do something like that, yeah, I think he earns a steak every night after that.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure he's going to get like an agent and then make appearances and like they're going to squeeze his ugly little face for everything it's worth.
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. Kudos to him.
Yeah.
Kudos. Let's see here.
And so, yeah, I have one more after this, whatever that means for yours, just so you know.
Okay. Um, actually, this one is a fun topic here. Being that the 4th of July is on a Wednesday this year, I'm sorry, on a
Hmm.
Thursday this year, so in the middle of the week, do you think that it's the same celebrating a holiday that falls on a weekend, or do you think it feels different?
Oh, I think people are checked out. Like everyone that I know had a post up that was like closing the laptop. I'll see you guys on Monday. So I think having it on the Thursday is almost the best of all worlds because it's like close enough to the weekend to Friday
Mhm.
that we're all like okay to shut it down. No, I'm gonna try my hardest to not bother people on like tomorrow or Friday. Um, I feel bad for people that like have to go into work on Friday. I think that's a little weird, but for definitely like I work remotely and a lot of people I just talk to over email and not actual go into an office, and everyone I know is definitely treating this like a long weekend.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I'm off of my day job tomorrow, but I'm supposed to work Friday, but I took a vacation day.
Yay.
I took one today and for Friday to make it a very long weekend.
Yay.
So my wife did the same thing. So we're gonna have some fun every single day, do something a little different. But you know, it is kind of weird when you do have it during the week because you enjoy that holiday, but then it sucks if you have to go back the very next day.
I know, I know. And then most jobs, I bet the people that do have to go back, it's like, how much are you really going to do? Because chances are the people that you're emailing might have off, and it's like no one does work it that much anyway on a Friday. So yeah, I think it should be free for everyone.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it is the people who are working mentally are not there. They're there
Right.
physically, but they're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
there.
yeah. It's gonna be a lot of hungover people driving. I like for people that do work in an office, you really could have planned this out. If you took like PTO on Friday, then you could almost like tonight you could have gone. They could go somewhere and have like Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday. You know, you could make a long vacation out of this if like your company allows you to take time off on Friday.
Actually, that's true. And then the beautiful thing about taking vacation over a holiday is you don't have to use as much of your PTO time.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, yep. So yeah, I think it's good. I don't know. For me, I'm always like remote and freelancing, so I'm always like kind of working and kind of not. So this doesn't really apply. But I think if I was like in an office job, I would totally hope that I didn't have to go in on Friday.
I hear you. Or just do like most people, just call in sick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Like sorry. Yeah.
That was a good
Um,
one.
that was super good. Okay. Well, my last one. I thought this was really fun. America's oldest man. Uh, let's see. He passed away. Wait. Uh, Wait. Oh yeah. Okay. So he died. I wait. Like he did. Oh no. No. Wait. Hold on. Is he still alive or not? I can't tell because this is so funny. The article that I found it in. It's one of those things now. When I try to read it, it's like, become a business insider for like $3. So I'll never know if this man is alive or dead. So I'll have to find out the answer and post it. But basically, the oldest man in America relied on when they asked him how he lived to be 110 years old. He said daily walks was the number one thing. He went on daily walks, unprocessed food, eating whole foods as much as he can, and hobbies. So I feel like we already know this, but this is so simple and so like easy. Obviously not everyone's going to live to 110. I feel like a lot of things play a factor, like
Hmm.
luck, genetics, who know fate, who knows like about that kind of stuff. But I thought like it always seems like daily walks and just like mild exercise seems to always come up in like all of these people that are 100 and older, and
Hmm.
hobbies, having friends and staying engaged.
Oh yeah. I think what's kind of cool about that is, I know we study a lot of different things for a lot of different reasons, but I think it would be well worth the money if people start, maybe the government, maybe private institutions do studies on people who live past 100. And then
Yeah.
what you do is, you look at their medical histories, you look at their life history. In other words, do they work for someone? Are they self-employed? Do they do volunteering? What do they do in their normal habits? And then what you do from there is look at all the common factors. Because
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
do that, now you start putting together a formula for longevity.
Exactly. Because I do hear a lot about the occasional like feisty woman who smokes a cigarette every day or eats a Coke. I heard one thing that I thought was so funny where the woman was like, my doctor told me to not have my Coke every day, and I outlived him. It was just like, she drinks her Coke every, but like maybe she's just so happy and that happiness like overrides the damage of smoking one cigarette every day, like who knows, but I think you're right where if we saw these like common things, I think that would help a lot.
Oh yeah, because I personally have known people who have passed away that were in excellent condition. I mean, worked
Yeah.
out every day, they stayed away from bad stuff, they exercised, and it's like, okay, this is pretty scary because you're doing all the things you're supposed to do and you passed away.
I know like people that like run marathons or yeah, like yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I know it seems sometimes like there's no rhyme or reason, but I mean to me it always seems like people that like they have like this like fire in them where they last a long time because they like genuinely enjoy life and they you know, like they enjoy being on the planet. Like I don't know a ton of like 110-year-olds that are like, I hate this, I'm depressed. You know, they seem to like, even if it's little tiny hobbies, they seem to just like kind of like to like, you know, pucker along at life.
Oh yeah, I mean, even my doctor told me this. Believe it or not, and people don't understand this, stress can kill you.
Yeah, yeah.
And you'll be amazed at what stress can do to your body and do to your health. And like if you're in a bad situation, whatever, whether it's a job, a relationship, whatever, if it's starting to take a toll on your body and your mental health, you need to find a way to get the hell away from that.
Right. Yep. Yeah. And sometimes that could be like just hanging out with friends or, you know, like finding a job that you like. And yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but it's amazing. And I remember there was one woman. I don't remember her name. She lived past 100, and this woman actually had a drink every night and smoked,
Yeah.
and she lived past 100. It's like, okay, that kind of blows away what we've been told all these years.
Yeah, but I almost feel like sometimes the relaxation of like I don't, I obviously think it's not the wine or the whiskey or whatever or the cigarette that's like helping, but I think the relaxation of like she's
Mhm.
doing something for herself every night that she likes and like maybe that's helping like unstress her, you know.
True.
And so I like when people like live kind of march to their own drum, and I feel like the universe like rewards that in some way, you know.
Oh yeah, it's almost like when you get that parent mentality, and what I mean by that is when you get to that age where you just don't give a damn, you
Yeah.
actually live long and you are great. I had a cousin of mine ask me this one day. She's a younger cousin of mine. I'm probably, I want to say I'm about 10 or 15 years older than her. So I'm kind of like one of the older cousins. And she's
Mhm.
like, Lawrence, I just gotta ask you this question. When did you get to the point where you just didn't give a fuck? I said, what are you talking about? No, I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's like you don't let stuff bother you. I said, well, I got to that point because one day my son found me clutched on the floor, holding my chest.
Mm.
I was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. They thought I had a heart attack. Um, and I did how you see in the movies and the pictures, you're on that treadmill, you're running and all that.
Oh, yeah, like the stress test kind of thing, or yeah.
I'm here to tell you that thing is real.
Whoa.
And there's nothing more irritated than watching two nurses sit there, faster, faster, faster.
Oh my gosh. I'd be like,
And,
no.
and you want to be nice, but in your mind, you think, won't you get your ass up here and do
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
But the positive thing is I found out my heart's in excellent conditions, no blockages,
Good.
nothing. But what my doctor did tell me is that you need to be careful. Stress will kill you.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was working at a job that, I just got away from because my health was starting to take a dive. So I had to get the hell away from there. And I just got to the point, I'm like, you know what? I am who I am. You like me, cool. If not, I pray for you and keep moving. You know what I mean?
Yep. And like
And
having enough time, like I try to make sure in the morning I have enough time to go on a walk and like make, because I think jobs like that too, like when people are like in the car and then you're just drinking coffee and eating a donut and then you work and then you come home and watch TV and it's just like your body is like, what are we doing? You know, there's no like purpose. And so I think a lot of
yeah,
people too are seeing that there's like it's more meaningful to kind of slow down and do what's right for you rather than to try to keep up with like this appearances and the rat race.
oh, absolutely. And the reality is, there's nothing wrong with, trying to make money, be successful, put money in the bank, invest.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, um, our gravesite is the same size. You can't take
yeah.
stuff.
Except what if
Um,
I really want like a big mausoleum? Like I'm like it for most part it is, but I really want like a whole like canopy basically. But yeah,
big size. Here lies Meryl.
that would be so cool. I'd be like, hello everyone. Yeah. It would say like world's ugliest dog. No, I can see me randomly living to like 115 years old and just being like, why am I here? And then just jumping off a building or something. Like I wouldn't do that.
I told my aunt one day, I'm like, I'm gonna live to be 200 years old. She's like, Lawrence, really? Yeah, I'm gonna be there. I'm like, boy, what's your name? I'm Uncle Lawrence. Come over here.
That's so good. See, I'll have to have like people around though, because I feel like once my crew is gone, then I'll just be like I'm joining them, but I have to have people around still that I like, otherwise I'll be sad and bored.
I hear you. I hear you. But I think you have the personality where it doesn't matter if people are around you. You have that spirit, and
Aw,
that
thank
to me
you.
keeps you young. Is that
Yeah,
spirit?
I like it. Some young, some immature. We'll take it, a mix.
Hey, nothing wrong with that at all. Wow, this was a great show.
This was fun. Late night recording.
Yes. You have anything coming up?
Yes, I have another show in Los Angeles in July 15th. It's going to be really fun and it's with a bunch of cool people.
Hmm.
So that's it. It's in
Nice.
a place called Sherman Oaks, which is really cool.
Cool.
And I'm going to be on a cool podcast at some point or a date that we know in July with you. So I can't wait for that.
Absolutely. That's going to be real cool. And also, too, I don't know if anyone had the chance to see it or not, but I do have a ad running on YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, it's promoting my talk show. I mean, well, actually, my whole channel, elrodtvnetwork.com. And, again, people could try it out for free for 7 days. But I think if you try it out, I think most people will like it.
I think people will really like it. You do a good job, a quality job. And I feel like you always you attract like nice people too, like everyone
Oh,
around.
thank you.
Yes, of course I haven't met anyone in real life, but what I've seen on screens, people seem really nice too. So
But thank you. I appreciate that. Well, everyone, enjoy your evening. Have a cocktail on us. Enjoy your holiday.
yeah, it's gonna help you live till you're 110 years old. So
There you go. And always remember to have those thirsty conversations. I am Lawrence Elrod.
and I am Meryl Climo.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Okay, let me go